The earth finally took him back. I was there when the foundation cried. The sound wasn't a scream. It was the crack of something big and wet breaking, followed by the quietest silence I have ever heard. That sound lives inside my head now, even years later. This happened in my home country, West Africa. We had a prince named Jaid. He wasn't magical, but he was wicked. Not the kind of wicked you read about, but the kind that wakes up every day deciding who he can ruin. Jaid was due to be king soon. He needed a grand new palace. A farmer had the best land for it, land that held the oldest shrine, the place where the first king was buried. The village elders begged Jaid not to build there. They said the earth was alive and the ancestors watched from that spot. Jaid just laughed loud and cruel. He told his guards to burn the elders' main compound to teach them a lesson about respecting their future king. I was not a good man, but I was not cruel. I was not a good man, but I was not cruel. I was just a hungry man, so I took a job as one of Jaid's construction foremen. I hated him, but my family needed the coin. The first few weeks were bad. Jaid would beat the workers for being slow. Then things got worse. One evening, Jaid walked onto the site. He was wearing white linen and looked like a fat snake. He was angry because a young boy, maybe 12 years old, working as a water carrier, tripped and spilled water on GD's fine white sandals. The prince didn't yell. He was too calm. He pointed to the exact center of the building's foundation, the place where the ancient shrine stone had been dug up. "You have spilled on the prince," Chai told the boy. "Now you must strengthen the foundation." He told his largest guard to hold the boy down on the hard, sharp foundation stone. Chai picked up a heavy wooden mallet, the kind used for driving stakes. That's when I heard the sound. Not the scream that should have come, just the heavy, wet crack I mentioned before. The earth drank that boy's life right there. I went home and threw up until morning. I didn't go back to the site for 3 days. When I did go back, the work had stopped. The concrete was poured and the walls were starting to go up, but every single wall had a crack running through it, deep and dark, like something had dragged giant claws across the stone. We fixed them, but they came back the next day. The workers were terrified, but the scariest part was the center of the foundation, right where the boy had died. A thin, clear stream of water was flowing up from the earth. It wasn't a burst pipe. It was cold, clear, and steady. It never stopped. The foreman who took my place told me that when they worked near the pool, they could hear a whisper, not a wind sound, but a voice, cold and quiet, like a child asking, "Where is my mother?" Jaid finally came to the site one night, alone. He stood about 10 feet from the cold, wet spot in the foundation. I watched him from the shadows. He stood there for a long time, looking at the water. He was a man who feared nothing, fire, soldiers, or curses. But that night, he looked sick. He looked utterly terrified. He never went near the site again. A month later, Jaid caught a sudden fast fever. It burned him from the inside out. They said his skin was hot, but his hands and feet were ice cold. He died 3 days after the fever started. His last words, whispered before he died, were that he was sinking into the cold, deep earth. I didn't need to hear the elders. I didn't need a sermon. I knew. Jaid thought he was stronger than the land, but when he built his foundation on a cruel act, the earth itself rejected the building, and then it came for the builder. I left that city 2 hours after his body was put in the ground. The palace, it crumbled to dust within the year. No one dared